All right, good morning, everybody. So I'm just connecting to Instagram now to allow those to join us there. For the practice, if you have a yoga strap, that would be great. If you don't have a yoga strap, then some sort of hand towel is a good option as well, if you have a long band or something like that. But we'll use a strap at one point. So if you want to grab that, that's great. You could also find a block if you have a yoga block. Otherwise, thick hardcover book is a good option, or even just a pillow. Pillows work well as well. So if you want to grab those things, and then I'll wait for everybody to get back and we'll then meet on our mat. So again, for those just joining, if you have a strap of some sort, that is helpful. If you don't have a strap, a hand towel or a bigger towel is another option. And if you tend to have tight hips, you may want to grab a block or maybe just a pillow of some sort. Once you have that, we'll actually go ahead and start on our back today. So we're going to start in heart opener pose. So soles of the feet are touching. One hand is on your heart, one hand on your belly. And then from here you can softly close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just allowing ourselves to arrive, to settle in. Noticing how your body feels this morning. Is there any areas of tension, stiffness, holding? And then starting to pay attention to your breath. Not changing your breath, just noticing. Start to deepen the breath. Hand on the belly rises first. Hand on the chest rises second on your inhale. And then exhale, reverse it down. Keep rising the belly first on your inhales. And exhale. A few more just like that, focusing on the belly breathing. One more deep breath. And then from there you can bring your hands down to the sides. Place the soles of your feet on the outer edges of your mat. And then from here we'll wipe the legs side to side. So inhaling over to the side. Exhale to center. Inhaling over to the other side. Exhale to center. Moving with your breath here. Finish up on your second side and then come back to neutral. And then from here, we'll bring the knees into the chest, give them a hug. And then place your knees over to the right, stacking them one on another. And then reach your left arm over to the left, gaze off to the left. A few deep breaths here. One more inhale and exhale. And then bring your knees back to center and over to the left. Keeping your knees down and then look over to your right side. One more inhale and exhale. And then bring the knees back to center. Give them another hug. And then place the soles of the feet back down. From here, cross your right leg over the top of your left. And then we'll let the legs go over to the right. Another twist here. To intensify the twist, if that back left leg is accessible to you, you could grab on to further intensify the quad stretch. If you're holding onto your foot, release the foot, come back to center. Release your legs and switch. Left leg crosses over the left, legs move to the left, gaze to the right. If grabbing onto the right foot is accessible to you, do so there. One more inhale and exhale. And then bring knees back to center and release. Bring the knees into your chest for one more squeeze. And then we'll start to rock ourselves up to seated. And then plant the palms and bring your knees back behind you into tabletop. From here, we'll do a few rounds of cat and cow. So as you inhale, tilt the pelvis down, look up, and then exhale, round through the spine, drop your head, pull your belly button in towards your spine. Inhale, tilt the pelvis down, look up. Exhale, round through the spine. Keep going through a few rounds just like that with your own breath. Finish up one more round. And then come back to a neutral spine. And we'll go through a few T-spine rotations. So from here, you can bring your left hand just a little bit more to the center of your body. Take your right arm and reach it up towards the ceiling as you inhale. And then exhale, thread it through. Come back up, inhale, reach the arm up. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, reach the arm up. Exhale, thread it through. And then we'll hold here. You can either keep your hand where it is, the left hand, or you can reach that left arm up in front of you. Or you can reach it back behind, hooking into your right hip, opening up the left shoulder as well. One more deep breath here. If your hand is hooked or in front of you, bring it back in front of your face. Push yourself back up, one more twist. And then exhale, lower the hand down. Again, setting this right hand now slightly towards your midline. Take your left arm, inhale, reach it up. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, sweep the left arm up. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, thread it through, and we'll hold here. Right hand can stay where it's at, or reach forward in front of you, or hook behind your left hip. One more inhale and exhale. If your hand is hooked or in front, then bring it back in front of your face. Inhale, sweep the arm up one more time. And exhale, bring it back down. From tabletop, we'll take our hands about a hand's distance in front, tuck under the toes, and push back to our first down dog of the day. Do whatever feels good here. Maybe you bend your knees deeply. Maybe you pedal through the heels. Shake your head yes and no. Just waking the body up. From here, we'll lower our elbows down into dolphin pose. Still pushing the butt back. Bend the knees as much as you need here. And then come forward to dolphin plank or a low plank position. Push back to dolphin pose. Push back up to downward facing dog. And then we'll step our feet to the top of the mat. In our first forward fold here, option to hook opposite elbows for ragdoll, or just let the arms hang. Bend the knees deeply here, and we'll take a few deep breaths in the bottom of our forward fold. If your arms are in ragdoll, slowly lower them down, and then start to come up one vertebrae at a time as slowly as you can, head last. And then from here, we'll inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, fold, step or float back to plank. Lower down halfway on or off the knees, chaturanga. We'll inhale up to cobra, and then exhale to downward facing dog. We'll hold here for 5 deep breaths. And a reminder for those that have been joining us, and a note for those that have been joining us for the first time, if at any point downward facing dog is too much, you always have the option to come to child's pose. So anytime you cannot keep up with your breathing in and out of your nose, take that moment to come to child's pose. One more inhale and exhale. And then from here, look between your hands, bend the knees deeply, step or float to the top of the mat. Inhale the halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, fold. Step or float back to plank. Lower down halfway, on or off the knees, chaturanga. Inhale, the upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 deep breaths here. Again, option is always to come to child's pose. On your next exhale, bend the knees deeply, look between your hands, step or float to the top of the mat. Inhale the halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more round just like that. Inhale, reach the arms up, gaze up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, fold. Step or hop back to plank. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog or child's pose. 5 deep breaths. On your next exhale, bend the knees deeply. Look between your hands, step or float to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, gaze up. And exhale, hands and heart center. So move on to Sun B. So go ahead and bring your big toes together. We'll bend the knees deeply as we inhale, sweep the arms back and up for chair pose. Check in with your pelvis here. We tend to dump forward. Try to tuck the pelvis under here. If there's any neck issues or tight shoulders, you can always bring your hands to heart center. Exhale, lower the hands down. Halfway lift, find length. Exhale, fold, step or hop back to plank. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot sweep your right foot up into the air. And then exhale, bring it between your hands. Pivot your left foot down 45 degrees. And then sweep the arms up for warrior one, squaring off your shoulders to the front of the room. Check in with that back left foot, really pressing that foot down, active through that back leg. And then exhale, place the hands on either side of the right foot, step it back. Option to stay in downward facing dog or take a vinyasa. Once in downward facing dog, we'll switch sides, sweeping the left foot up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring it through. Pivot your right foot down 45 degrees. Root down, rise up, squaring off your shoulders to the front of the room. Strong and solid through that back foot. Exhale, place the hands on either side of that front foot. Step it back. Option to come to downward facing dog or to take a vinyasa. Once in downward facing dog or child's pose, we'll take 5 deep breaths. On your 5th exhale, bend the knees deeply, look between your hands, step or float to the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Sun C, bend the knees deeply, sweep the arms up, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, fold. Step or float back to plank. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Sweep your right leg into the sky. Exhale, bring it through between your hands. Back to warrior one, pivot that back heel down, 45 degrees. Inhale, square the shoulders off to the front of the room. On your next exhale, open up to warrior two. The back foot goes from 45 degrees to parallel with the short end of your mat. Gaze is off the front fingertips. Start to reach those front fingertips forward as far as you can. And then place the forearm on your thigh. You could come inside the leg or outside the leg. You could use your block here. And then we'll sweep the top arm down and in front for extended side angle pose. Really lengthening through the top side body here. Reach the top arm straight up overhead. Start to straighten the front leg. Walk your back foot in slightly, shortening the stance. Keeping your legs straight. Let your hand come down that shin for extended triangle. Gaze can either be up at your top hand or down at your big toe, again, if there's any neck issues. From here, we'll head into half moon. So bring your top hand to your hip. Start to square your hip off. Bend through your front knee. Reach forward in front of you, lifting the back leg. Once you have that position, you can start to reach the top arm up towards the ceiling again. Actively pressing your top heel towards the wall behind you. If you fall out of this pose, that's okay. Yoga is a practice. Just keep trying. Keeping that back foot raised. Bring your top hand to the floor, standing splits. Reaching that back leg up as high as you can as you square off your hips. And then start to lower the top foot down into the same pose of triangle. Bring your hands to your hips, start to square your hips square, pulling that front right hip back. Take your left hand and reach it either down towards the floor or to a block and start to twist to the right. Revolved triangle. Once here, your right hand can stay on your hip or you can start to reach it up towards the ceiling. Gaze either up at that hand or down at your big toe. And from here, step your back foot further back, start to bend in that front knee. Option to stay here for that extended side angle pose or to come to a knee. Frame the front foot, step your front foot back to downward facing dog. And then we'll switch, sweep the left leg up into the sky. Exhale, step between your hands. Pivot that back foot down 45 degrees. Root down, rise up for warrior one. Exhale, open up warrior two, back foot parallel to the short end of the mat. Gaze off your front fingertips. Start to reach your fingertips as far forward as you can, and then either place the hand on the thigh or inside or outside of the front foot. Top arm sweeps down and in front, extended side angle pose. Bring your top arm straight up overhead. Start to straighten the front leg. Shorten the stance. Keeping your legs straight, start to slide your hand down the shin for extended triangle. Again, gaze can be up at the top hand or down at your big toe if it's hard on the neck. Bring your top hand down to your hip. Start to look forward, start to bend into your front knee. Go for it, grab the floor in front of you, lifting into half moon. Driving your back heel into the wall behind you. Start to open up your chest. If the balance is there, maybe we lift that top hand. If you fall out of it, maybe we're just working on being on one foot here. Keeping that top foot raised, bring your top hand down to the floor to meet the left. Square off your feet. Maybe walk your hands closer to that front foot, standing splits. Drop your back foot down. Keeping both legs fairly straight. Bring your left hand to your left hip now. Square off your hips towards the front of the room. Start to twist for a revolved triangle. If it's open to you, you could take your hand, top hand, and open up, or keep it on the hip. From here, step your back foot even further back. Bend through that front leg. Start to twist even more to the left. Sweep your top hand down and in front. Revolved triangle. Option to come to your back knee if needed. Place your hand down to frame the front foot. Step your left foot back to meet the right to downward facing dog. Option to stay here in downward facing dog or to take your vinyasa. Chaturanga, inhale halfway to upward facing dog. And exhale, meeting in downward facing dog. Couple of deep breaths here. On your next exhale, bend the knees deeply, look between your hands, step or float to the top of the mat. Inhale the halfway lift, find length through your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center to Samasthiti. All right. So from here, we'll do a little bit of standing balancing. So you can place most of your weight in your left foot. So the right toes are just touching at this point. Then from here we'll go into our tree pose. So you can either kickstand that right heel into your shin, or you can take the foot off completely and put it onto the shin, or you can assist it up into your thigh. Just making sure you're not on your kneecap. Once there, hands can either be palms forward and out to the sides to help with your balance, or you can bring them to heart center, or to test the balance a little bit more, you can bring it up overhead. Gaze is either slightly in front of you, or forward, or looking up, or you can test the gaze even more by closing the eyes. Again, if you fall out of it, that's okay. Keep practicing. If your hands are overhead, bring them to heart center. If they're out to the sides, bring them to heart center. And then we'll take that right leg, bring it into your chest, grabbing on with both hands for standing hand to big toe. Option to stay here or to hook with your big toe, your index and middle finger, or you could take that strap or towel that we grabbed and hook that around. From here, if your leg is extended, we'll slightly bring it out to the side. If the knee is inward, bring it out to the side. Placing your hand on your left hip. If the balance is there, you can start to look over your left shoulder. Bring your leg or knee back to center for one more time. And then we'll take that same leg, bring it back behind us. We're almost done. Take your right hand palm side up, grab inside of the top of the foot. Your left arm will reach straight up overhead. And then depending on the balance, we may just lean forward slightly. Otherwise, if the balance is there, start to push that back heel up into the ceiling, coming forward for dancer's pose. If you fall out of it, that's okay. Keep working. On your next inhale, start to raise back up. And then exhale, release and shake out that side. Again, if you want your strap handy for the other side, go ahead and grab it. Placing most of your weight in your right foot. Once you have that balance, either kickstanding that left heel, bringing it up to the shin, or assisting it into your thigh. Once you have that position, either arms out to the side, palms forward, hands at heart center or overhead, and then your options of your gaze. If your hands are overhead or at the sides, bring them to heart center. And then we'll bring that knee into our chest, either staying here or using a strap or hooking the big toe with your index and middle finger, extending it out. One more inhale, and on your next exhale, bring the big toe or the knee out to the side. If your balance is there, you can start to look over your right shoulder. Bring the big foot or knee back to center. Without dropping it to the floor, bring the leg straight back. Open up your left palm, grab the inside and top of that left foot. Right arm will reach straight up overhead. And then as you inhale, find length, and then exhale, start to hinge forward as little or as much as you can. Our next inhale, slowly rise back up. And then exhale, release. Shaking the legs out. Good. From here, we'll inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find length of your spine. Exhale, fold. Step or float to plank. Push it back to downward facing dog. We'll again go to our dolphin pose, so dropping your elbows down. Still pushing the butt back. Again, push the hips forward to dolphin plank. Push back to dolphin pose. Push up to downward facing dog. And then we'll make our way to seated. You can either just cross one leg over and step it in, or you can bend the knees deeply, lift the feet up and swing through. So from here we'll start with a two-legged seated forward fold. Flexing your feet back towards your face, removing the flesh from your sit bones so you're fully sitting on the bony part of your butt. And then inhale, sweep the arms up, find length. Exhale, hinge forward, grabbing onto your toes or your ankles or your calves, whatever is accessible. Taking the time to really connect with your breath. The mind likes to wander at this point, so just try to acknowledge those thoughts, put them to the side, and bring it back to your breathing. One more inhale and exhale. And then release the feet. You'll again want your strap or your towel nearby. Keep your left leg extended. We'll take the right leg and bring it nice and tight to the body. Okay. From here, we'll show the option without the strap. You'll take your right hand, thumb up as if you're looking to grab a high five or somebody to help you up. And then I'm going to take my thumb and place it down and reach my arm wrapped around my knee. So my arm is in front of the knee and then back behind. If you're able to grab on hand to hand, do so. Otherwise, you can take your strap and then hold on this way. So from the side view, knee is here. I reach forward and around, either grabbing hand to hand or using my strap here. Still keeping my chest up and lifted while I'm hinging forward. One more inhale and exhale, and then release that side. Bring the strap to the other side. Extend the leg that was just bent. Bend in that left straight leg, bringing it close to your butt. Again, sides usually are different one side to the other, so even if you couldn't hook on the other side, maybe try on this side, reaching the arm forward, thumb down as you wrap back around. See if you're able to hook the hands. If not, then again, grab the strap or towel. Keep lifting the chest forward and down. One more inhale and exhale, and then release. Going back to the first side, so straightening that left leg, bend through the right knee, and then we'll bring the leg across the body. Option to keep this left leg straight, or if the flexibility is there, you can start to bend the knee back behind you. We'll then work a twist here. So my right hand's gonna press into the floor. Inhale, reach the left arm up. Exhale, hook it with the right knee for Marichyasana B. Seated twist. On your next exhale, release the bind and release sides. Left leg extends long, bend through the right knee. Bring it across your body, other side. If it's accessible to you, you can bend that straight leg back behind you. And then again, working through that twist. Left hand places behind the glutes as you lift the chest. Inhale, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, twist over to the left. All right, next exhale, release the pose. Release the legs. And then start to widen your stance. You can use your arms to move the legs out, finding that wide-legged forward fold, that straddle. Remove the flesh from your sit bones here. And then as you inhale, find length, lifting the crown of your head high. As you exhale, start to walk the hands forward for that forward fold. One more inhale and exhale. And then start to walk the hands back to center. Bring the soles of your foot together. And then you can grab onto the toes, maybe walk your heels closer to your groin for a butterfly pose. Roll the shoulders down your back. Inhale and find length. As you exhale, you can bend the elbows slightly and shine the heart forward. Just make sure we're not rounding through the head and spine. Finding a nice tall seat. Then release the feet, cross one shin in front of the other. And then you'll again want your strap or towel handy. With this, you can take the towel or strap into one arm and just bring the towel behind you. Your opposite hand will reach back behind, grabbing for the strap. You'll start to walk your hands closer and closer together as far as you can until you feel that stretch. Some of you may have the flexibility where you're able to clasp your hands together back behind you, then you may not need that strap. While doing this, we tend to hinge forward, so still try to lift that top elbow, lift your chest, finding a tall spine here. This tends to be a tough stretch for a lot of people. So see if you can soften your face, maybe even smile while you do it. And then exhale, release the hands, switch up the cross of the shins, and then switch sides. Again, maybe one side is easier than the other. Sometimes we can touch with one direction, sometimes we can't with the other. So top hand has the strap or towel behind you. Opposite hand internally rotates behind, and then walk those hands closer together, seeing if you can touch. Lift that top elbow up, crown of the head reaching high. One more inhale and exhale. And then release the hands here. From our seated position, we'll place the hands on either side of your hips. See if you can lift your butt off the floor. That's kind of the first option, and then bring it back down. If you're able to lift the butt, maybe we also lift a foot and then back down. Third option, maybe we lift the butt and both feet and then back down. So just spending a few rounds of breath here, inhaling as you lift, and then exhaling, placing the bum, one foot or both feet back down. Another move to find stillness and softness in your face. Again, just lifting the butt in one leg, or lifting everything off the floor. One more try there. And then keeping the legs crossed, you can pull them in tightly. We'll plant the hands in front of us, Bring it back to plank. And then slowly lower down onto our belly, one vertebrae, or one slowly at a time. Not one vertebrae at a time. From here, place the tops of your feet down onto the floor, feet together. Pressing your pubic bone down as well, creating an anchor. Hands can come back behind you. Either staying here or clasping for locust pose. So lifting the feet, engaging your quads, lifting your chest, lifting your shoulders. Gaze is just in front of you. And then exhale, lower down to one cheek. And then we'll set up for one more. Again, either palms up back behind you or clasping the hands. Inhale and lift. On your next exhale, lower down, other cheek to the mat. Place your left forearm parallel to the short end of the front of the mat. And then from here, placing your left sole or top of the foot, pressing it firmly into the floor. Start to bend through your right leg. Reach your right arm back, grabbing the inside of that right foot and pressing that heel towards your glute. Actively pressing away with your left arm so that we're not dumping into our left shoulder here for Ardha Bakasana, half frog pose. If you have the flexibility, instead of fingertips facing away from your midline, you could turn the fingertips forward, creating more of a stretch through the shoulder of the back arm as well. On your next exhale, release and switch sides. Right forearm is parallel to the short end of the mat. Press the top of the right foot down, bend through your left leg, reach back towards the inside of the left foot, pressing the heel down. If the flexibility of the shoulder is there, you can walk the fingertips forward as you press down, feeling a stretch through that back left shoulder as well. Actively pushing out of the front right arm so we're not dumping into that right shoulder. And then exhale, release. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, we'll press up to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And then again, either step or float through to seated. You can place the feet in front of you and then we'll slowly lower ourselves down, setting up for bridge pose. Feet are about hip distance apart and we're able to touch or graze the back of our heels. From here, if you want to have your block handy, or if you have a book, you could use that, or your pillow, placing it between your knees so that the knees aren't splaying out to the sides. Then from here, start to slowly lift the hips as high as you can. Option to stay here, keep pressing those knees together or towards each other. Or option to start to walk the shoulders underneath, clasping the hands underneath you. Bridge pose. If the hands are intertwined underneath, release the hands, and then we'll slowly come down one vertebrae at a time. Take Take just a couple breaths here, and then we'll do one more round. Actively pressing the knees into the block or pillow, and then start to lift the hips. Reaching the arms underneath, clasping the hands if it's accessible to you. Holding for 5 breaths. After that 5th breath, you can slowly release it down. And then we'll come back to our heart opener pose that we started in. Soles of the feet together, knees splay out to the sides. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. If it feels right, option to soften or close the gaze. Just taking a few deep breaths here. Take one more inhale and exhale. And then bring the knees back to center. Setting up for happy baby, bending through the knees, bringing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. Reaching for the outer edges of your feet, pressing your pelvis down so that we're not peeling it off of the floor. And then once you have that pubic bone down, start to pull the feet in towards your chest. Option to stay in place and feel the stretch here, or you could start to rock side to side over that low back, or you could straighten and bend opposite legs, doing whatever feels best here. And then releasing the legs down, placing your left sole of the foot onto the floor, crossing your right shin over the top. Option to stay here and just press that top knee away, or to frame the grounded leg, grabbing behind the calf or the hamstring or the front of the shin for a modified pigeon pose. Your next exhale, release and switch. Option to stay with the foot grounded, press the top knee away, or to frame the standing leg, either grabbing the hamstring or the shin for modified pigeon on this side. And then from here, releasing the legs back down. So from here, we'll set up for our meditation. For those that are on Instagram, because it only allows me an hour of video, I'm going to go ahead and end this video and restart another one so that you can join us. For those that